The IPL mini auction will happen and a couple of names will not be a part of that list. Glenn Maxwell is one of them. So is Faf du Plessis. What do you make of that?
I make of that I don't think they'll get a good price. I mean, that's the honest truth of the matter. Today, I'll tell you, there was a time in the IPL right early in 2008-9 where players used to be picked on reputation, where teams didn't know exactly what they were, and owner would say, I want Kevin Peterson on my team, or I want so-and-so player on my team. Those days are over. Today, nobody is picked on reputation. Everyone is picked on what he does in the field. And I think that's what's the great thing about the IPL. When the IPL started, owners were still grappling with this. Now nobody cares who you are. You may be the youngest player, but as long as you can come and score runs out here. And I think both of them would have looked and said, perhaps now the time has come where we might not be picked in an auction. If you remember, last year also, du Plessis was an afterthought.
Yeah.
He was bought in at base price. And Maxwell, I think, as I said, Maxwell is, Oscar Wilde described, I think it was Oscar Wilde described that, a second marriage is the greatest triumph of hope over experience. So picking Glenn Maxwell is like a second marriage. It's always a triumph of hope over experience. Every year he doesn't perform, but every year somebody hopes that he'll perform for me. Mere team mein aakar ye theek.
Maybe they can say Maxwell knew he would not be picked on reputation. He's built a reputation about him. In the IPL, average of 5 or 7 in the last 2 years, it hasn't worked for him, and he'll be in action at the PSL.
Yeah.
I'm a bit surprised with Faf du Plessis not being at the auction. He's super fit.
See, also, look, Faf, maybe the last season also he had some injury issues, so that might be playing a role here. It might be his own decision. With Russell, you've seen it's a progression into a different role. So it is the decision making of not going in the auction is linked with the long-term vision. But if you have a reputation as a player or you've been consistently playing international cricket, at times the decision is made based on whether you're going to play all the IPL games or not. So if the franchisees they don't see you as that player which is going to be the first 11 pick, and it's going to be more in terms of a tactical move or a player which is going to fill in for some playing 11 spots if need be, then it becomes challenging for you as a player, since you are used to playing all the games. Suddenly, to manage yourself outside of the game and yet preparing. Sometimes you feel that you are been put on the trial, and you don't want that. You've gone past that stage in your career, which you don't want to face again. So the decision can be linked with that as well.
Yeah, that was Samuel Janssen, not Oscar Wilde, but the quote stands. The quote absolutely stands. It's basically a second marriage, definitely. It's always a triumph of hope over experience. But I want to come to one point, and I think he said something very important, that when these players are transitioning, somebody like a Faf would have actually called up, maybe spoken to 2-3 coaches, 2-3 owners, and said, where do I stand in this? And if he felt that none of the teams regard him as a legitimate first team option at this point in time, then he would probably say that let me take my game elsewhere where I have a chance to play cricket. Because I think what is most important for Faf now is not the money or the brand, it's about playing cricket. And I think he'd not be happy if he thought that he'd come to India and sit on the bench. Because I still think I would still pick Faf in a heartbeat just to have his experience in the dressing room, talking to the youngsters and all. But I don't think Faf just wants to do that. I think Faf still thinks he has a lot of cricket on the field left for him. And I think that's how it's come out.
The IPL is also now an adult, 18 years. And safe to say that there's a certain level of maturity that's come into the franchises as well. Both of you have been on the auction table. In the early years, we saw teams do a lot of bizarre things. The odd team still does that. I won't name the team. But
don't go there. Don't go there.
Teams are much wiser now, and they wouldn't get sucked into just making a vanity purchase, right?
No, the league is evolving, isn't it? With that evolves the thought process as well. You've seen the rules also change over the years. The Impact Sub has made the room for inexperienced player to come in and get groomed at this level. So I think that thought process has also been very evident, and that spot usually is going to players which are doing really well in the domestic. So to use the Impact Sub also, and you've seen how it's evolved over the years now, 3-4 years. It's that youngsters are getting good opportunities, good exposure. and if you're getting the exposure, you have a lot of upside as compared to any experienced player using that spot. So I think a lot of the franchisees are looking at grooming players and looking at long-term vision as well. And the marquee spots are going for the guys who are currently making that kind of impact. So that's how you're seeing progression of Russell. That's how you've seen progression of Pollard as well. To go in the coaching staff, because the value to your performance justification is getting difficult. So you much rather have the players who you can create or have more backing for.
Yeah.
And the value to performance ratio is tilted heavily in your favor that way.